Over the past 18 years at Xinjiayi, which key decisions do you think you got right?
First, we decided to give up on scattered franchises. Second, after choosing to go down to the grassroots level, we moved forward. Third, we have always insisted on doing what we believe is valuable for our customers, for our franchisees, and for ourselves.
How should we understand this concept of value?
Actually, what we hope for the future is to become a company driven by our products. For consumers, the greatest value we can offer is better product quality and price. There are also advantages. For franchisees, the value of joining Xinjiayi is that it allows them to develop and earn money in a more stable and sustainable way.
Looking at it today, when people talk about convenience stores, it's often a very general concept because most convenience stores are franchises and people think they're all the same. I think Mr. Wu can talk about what you've discovered. What are the actual differences?
When it comes to franchising, there are still quite significant differences between us and the Japanese style or many Japanese style franchises. In China, there are also scattered franchises, which are actually very different from the direct operation system. For example, in terms of pricing, marketing, service, and even products and procurement, they can source externally and set their own prices. Actually, when we first started, our first generation of movie franchises was this kind of scattered franchise, but we felt that
That was back in the days when running directly operated stores was at its very best.
Every year we doubled. So within just a few years, we went from 1 store to 1,000 stores.
From 1 store to 1,000 stores, that's right.
And as for Japanese style franchising, it's actually a commissioned franchise, a kind of licensing franchise, and it operates on a profit sharing model. But the way we did it at the time was that we didn't make money from the franchisees. The franchisees kept all the money they earned. We ourselves relied on the overall gross margin and efficiency generated throughout the entire value chain to generate profits. So later on, we built our own logistics and optimized our systems. Then I went to the distributors and started building our own brand. So actually at that time, if the number of closures isn't high, actually we'll definitely be losing money at the beginning. For our strong franchise model, it was actually the same for consumers, meaning that your product display, pricing, marketing, and services, including online, everything is the same. As for the franchisees, all the assets of the store belong to them and the staff are theirs as well. They follow our professional guidance to operate. The company's standard responsibilities, rights, and obligations are actually much lighter in this model. The only difference is your own understanding and choices compared to others. Only then do you have the possibility to create unique value in the future. This applies whether you are using the franchise model or selling your own products. Or when we make other business choices ourselves, like with our current lower tier operations, this is the way we think about it. And this is also how we do things. In the early stages, it's relatively slow and quite painful. But the long-term value is actually far greater than simply copying others.
I think what left a deep impression on me was probably from the second half of 2018 to the first half of 2019. I felt like we were still in the process of finding our way. As I mentioned earlier, I was wondering at what point, under the unique circumstances in China and in a market like Changsha, could we create our own distinctive features for Xinjiayi? And ultimately, could we build it into a franchise system? If we break it down into 3 steps, what would those 3 steps be that eventually led us to become the franchise system we have today?
In fact, at the beginning in 2018, we had just over 20 company-owned stores, but by 2019, our growth was actually quite fast. We had nearly 200 7S company-owned convenience stores. The sales volume was actually quite high, close to 10,000, but we still tried to look at the future with a calm mindset. We didn't want to just imitate others or follow trends, since doing so wouldn't really make us stand out. So in 2019, while we were experimenting, we were also searching for a better solution for the future. By the end of 2019, we had already decided we implemented strict management and control over our own operations. We spent about half a year developing it, and in 2020, we officially launched this new project, opening a dozen or so stores. After that, it wasn't until 2021 that we really started to promote it in earnest. Up to now, actually, over 1,000 of our multi-store locations have opened in just the past 3 years.
Today, we've already reached a considerable scale. This year, we might have close to 2,000 stores in what we call our strong franchise system. These 2,000 stores, what kind of profits are people making now, and how does that compare to the first 1,000 stores, those loose franchise stores? Could you tell us about the changes in the business and the evolution of this venture?
There are 2 aspects. The first is the change in store level earnings. Back when we reached 1,000 stores, our daily sales were around 5,000, and the monthly net profit for a local store was just over 10,000 yuan. Now, for example, our current average daily sales this year are about 8,000, and during peak season, daily sales reach around 9,000.
Right.
So now, in the first half of the year, the monthly profit is about 20,000. But county level stores are even more profitable. In our county, the average monthly profit has reached around 30,000. So in terms of profit, a single store now makes more than what 2 stores used to make. Most brick and mortar retail stores are seeing their profit margins decline. But over the past few years, our franchisees' profits have actually been growing at a double-digit rate per store on average. So in this regard, you can really see that the competitiveness of the stores is getting stronger and stronger. Also, franchisees are making more and more repeat purchases, and for the company, the gap has become especially significant. Franchisees have evolved from being individual proprietors to starting from scratch, then expanding to multiple stores, and from multiple stores to cross-regional operations. Now, on average, each franchisee owns about 2 stores, and some of the larger franchisees have several stores. Some even have a few stores in different regions.
When we chat with franchisees together with Mr. Wu, some of them have even bought a lot of properties themselves.
Yes, exactly.
Right, they use their own properties. They open our convenience stores in batches, and some of them also venture into other different business formats. So in terms of consumer understanding and the maturity of their business operations, they really have teams, systems, and methods in place. It's quite different from how things used to be. For many years, we kept opening stores in Hunan. When was the first time we expanded beyond Hunan?
At the end of 2023, we went to Jiangxi. In cities like Pingxiang and Yichun, which have subways, we opened dozens of stores.
And now we've moved north to Hubei. Could you talk a bit about your thoughts and the pace regarding expanding from a base market like Changsha to a nationwide scale?
When we used to do scattered franchisees, we actually explored many lower tier markets, but later we pulled back from those. Then, during the process of gaining cross-industry experience, I observed other brands. Some of them expand rapidly and extensively, almost like internet companies, while others operate more like real estate firms entering one city at a time. For example, Yuja is a typical case. They treat each city like a major real estate project, sending in a whole team. Looking back, it's clear that these approaches aren't suitable for us. We don't have that kind of capability, and even in terms of technology, we're not at that level yet. So when we thought about expanding across regions, we knew we needed a different approach. In 2022, we entered prefecture-level cities, and in 2023, we started experimenting with county-level markets. Now, our teams in county and city areas are operating at a production scale. Compared to other cities, our pace has actually been much faster. So in recent years, our growth rate has increased from 23% to 40% and even up to 50%. For example, in Hubei, we've already opened more than 100 stores, but we haven't entered Wuhan. Outside of Wuhan, in the prefecture-level cities of Hubei, convenience stores in these counties and cities are very few and quite weak. So after we entered these areas, within basically 3 to 6 months, we became the local leader. Whether in terms of bestsellers, number of stores, scale, or growth, we were always at the top. There are a few key abilities involved here. First, for example, whether we can handle things like logistics and front-end team talent. We always send our best talent out there. Second, can we make money in these new areas, maybe even more than in our established regions? If we can't, that's okay. Third, after that, we need to look at the longer term. Can our franchisees make money? Your capabilities have to keep up. Then, if the company's pace and density of development can also be maintained, the region can reach a healthy state. In places where there's still room, customers need you and consumers need you. Your abilities need to keep up with the demands.
This sentence really left a deep impression on me. Don't just follow your own desires, right? It's not about becoming the national champion and crushing everyone else, but about going where there are consumer needs, where franchisees have needs, and creating value based on everyone's demands. I think this is what true expansion should be about. Where does the motivation come from? I noticed that when we entered Hubei, we started by focusing on the cities around Wuhan instead of going straight into Wuhan, choosing to develop the surrounding cities first. What was the reasoning behind this?
Yes, people often ask me now, when exactly are we going to enter Nanchang and when exactly are we going to enter Wuhan? In actual fact, we've already successfully opened in nearly 60 different cities across the country. And for some of the farther places like Quanzhou or Yichang, it's over 1,000 kilometers from Changsha to get there. Compared to Nanchang and Wuhan, these places are much farther away, the markets are smaller and the challenges are much greater. Yes, normally we would approach it that way, but if we reverse our decision-making process, then going to Yichang or Gannan actually makes sense. Many things just wouldn't be possible otherwise. Right? Over there, consumers haven't been well served, but the demand is there. When we go, we can offer consumers better choices and better products and better prices. In fact, our logistics center in Wuhan has already been operating for half a year, but we still don't have a single store in Wuhan itself. However, in the surrounding prefecture-level cities near Wuhan, we've basically achieved the #1 position and the highest standards in most of them, but that's still not enough. Are we able to assess the management level and operational status of franchisees and stores in Hubei? We need to reach, or even in the future, differentiate ourselves, achieving a balanced level with Hunan. This is something we must persist in doing well.
Shouldn't we consider how many regions we'll cover in 3 to 5 years?
We haven't made regional coverage our top priority.
Goal.
The long-term ultimate goal is whether we can become the most valuable service and retail brand for consumers in small cities. The most valuable service and retail brand. In fact, maybe right now we're holding ourselves back and focusing more. We're trying to do the basics even better, like making tastier rice balls. Can we make even tastier corn? Can we make more solid, better tasting and more cost-effective milk? Can we actually further control the raw material and better, and then control the temperature and digitalize the logistics level? Can you keep up? Because I believe that running a county town or a township will be much more difficult than running Changsha or Wuhan, but it will also be more important.
For
what? Because Changsha, Wuhan, Sam Hippo is already very good.
yes?
There are many stores where ordinary people can buy. Life is actually pretty good there as well, but currently no one is serving these areas. Whoever can serve them well, the Chinese market is still extremely large. If you can really go step by step, starting slow and then accelerating and achieve compounding growth, if the old stores can keep growing, the old cooling stores can keep opening more, consumers can keep making repeat purchases, and products can keep iterating. This most fundamental thing is actually the hardest.
So I still come back to the question of whether we can continuously and consistently improve our products. To create differentiated value, actually, this kind of differentiated value, when passed on to franchisees and consumers, will drive us forward. The pace of this progress is not determined by our desires, but by their needs.
It depends on when our product capabilities, franchisee capabilities, and organizational capabilities reach that level. When it reaches even lower tier areas and becomes more profitable, naturally you can expand to several more cities each month, or even more than a dozen cities, and it all happens organically.
So growth is actually a result, not a goal. The real goal is whether we can truly create greater value through our products and services.
We still hope that in the next 5 or 10 years, how can we achieve more sustainable growth over a longer period of time and do it better? It has to be supported by these fundamental things, not just driven by traffic, money, or desire. There are 1 billion people in China who don't really drink alcohol, and they can accept this.
Light and burden-free.
So for the old-timers who drink this, actually they're not really our target.
Got it. Thank you. All right, we're done for the day.
Thank you. Hard work.
Thank you.